organizations, you know. Governments, corporations, intelligence agencies. And then there are organizations you were never meant to know. No website, no official records, no confirmed members. Yet their influence appears again and again behind wars, financial collapses, political assassinations, and decisions that reshaped the world. Governments deny they exist. History books ignore them. But patterns don't lie. Tonight, we are uncovering an organization that officially does not exist, yet somehow controls everything. The strangest absence. Historians are trained to look for evidence, documents, records, paper trails. But sometimes the most powerful clue is not what exists, but what is missing. In the mid-20th century, researchers began noticing something unusual. Key documents connected to major global events were simply gone. Not destroyed in fires, not lost during wars. They were removed. Entire files erased from national archives across different countries, often on the same dates. Different governments, different ideologies, same silence. Officials blamed clerical errors, but clerical errors don't happen simultaneously in rival nations that share nothing in common. That was the first red flag. A pattern no one could ignore. As decades passed, independent researchers started connecting dots. Every time a major crisis occurred, a sudden war, a financial collapse, a government overthrow, the same pattern appeared. A small group of unnamed individuals arrived quietly before the event. They were never elected, never introduced, never photographed clearly. And when the event was over, they vanished. No interviews, no official statements, no acknowledgement they were ever there. These people were not leaders. They were something far more dangerous. They were decision makers behind the decision makers. How power really works. Most people believe power comes from authority, but real power comes from influence. This organization doesn't rule openly. It doesn't need flags, armies, or public offices. It controls outcomes by influencing markets instead of governments, by shaping narratives instead of laws, by deciding which information spreads and which disappears. Wars are not always started by hatred. Sometimes they are triggered by economic pressure. Revolutions are not always spontaneous. Sometimes they are carefully timed. And leaders don't always fall because they fail. Sometimes they are removed because they stop cooperating. The global footprint. What makes this organization terrifying is not its secrecy, but its consistency. Empires rise, empires fall, governments change, ideologies collapse, yet the same financial systems survive, the same power structures remain intact. The names change, the faces change, but the system never does. Some researchers believe this organization acts as a stabilizer, not for people, but for power. Their goal is not chaos. Their goal is control through controlled chaos. Why you never heard about them. If this organization is so powerful, why isn't it exposed? The answer is simple. Fear doesn't control people. Information does. The moment people understand how systems truly work, they stop reacting emotionally. They start asking questions, and questions are dangerous. So instead of silencing everyone, the organization does something far more effective. It floods the world with noise, endless news, endless scandals, endless distractions. So the truth gets buried, not by force, but by overload. The most uncomfortable question. Here is the part that makes people uncomfortable. What if this organization doesn't need to hide anymore? What if it's so deeply embedded into global systems that exposing it wouldn't change anything? What if the real control isn't secret meetings, but convincing people they have no reason to look deeper? Because the strongest prison is the one you don't realize you're inside. This organization may not exist on paper, but its fingerprints are everywhere. In history, in economics, in the choices that shape your future. The real question is not who they are. The real question is, what happens when enough people stop looking away? If you want more hidden history, dark secrets, and stories they never taught you, subscribe to DarkEra Files, because the truth is always darker than fiction.